Welcome to an exciting edition of NetStruc Talks. I am your host, Sharon Lee, publicity strategist, founder of NetStruc PR, and the founder of Ladies of Third Thursday Business Networking Group. And NetStruc Talks is a show that is all about delivering valuable insights about businesses and services, guided by my motto, tell me something that I don't know so me and my audience can be a better consumer and professional. In each episode, I feature candid conversations with remarkable guests who not only impresses me with their achievements, but also inspires so many people in their lives with their life stories. And today I have a special guest who has turned his personal struggle with a learning disorder into a learning opportunity. He is now dedicating his life to help young and old identify to overcome similar challenges. Stay tuned for an enlightening conversation. Welcome, it's Sharon Lead, your host, and I'm excited to have my guest here today, Dylan Smith, who is the founder of D is for Dyslexia. How are you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here and talk about something that's really, really important and serious in our world. So many people suffer from dyslexia and they don't even know that they have it. So many young kids go through life and wondering why is it that they're going through this struggle. And, with you, with your story and with your journey, and now putting this into something where you're empowering people all across the country, all across the world, this is a great opportunity for people to just really dive deep in and learn about this. So before we dig deep into your journey, into your story, can you just explain for those who don't know or has a little bit, misconception about dyslexia? What is dyslexia?
So dyslexia, it's a disability that affects the ability for one to be able to read or write, and it's much harder for us to be able to decode when reading. So a lot of the letters will flip and sentences will fly across the page, and it's very hard to read things that are moving, and it usually makes us dizzy. But I do make it a point that I'm not an expert on dyslexia itself. I'm an expert on living with it.
Okay. I don't know what happened just now. Let's start over.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let me start over. Let me take you off and start over.
Okay.
Welcome to another edition of NetStruc Talks. I am your host, Sharon Lee, publicity strategist, founder of NetStruc PR and Ladies of Third Thursday Business Networking Group. And NetStruc Talks is a show that is all about delivering valuable insights about businesses and services, guided by my motto, tell me something that I don't know and my audience, so we can be better consumers and professionals. In each episode, I feature candid conversations with remarkable guests who not only impresses me with their achievements, but also inspires so many with their life stories. And today I have a special guest, who has turned his personal struggle with a learning disorder into a learning opportunity. He now dedicates his life to helping young and old to overcome similar challenges. Stay tuned for an enlightening conversation. Welcome, and it's Sharon Lead for the host for NetStruc Talks. And I have a special guest here today, Dylan Smith, who is the founder of D for Dyslexia. And Dylan, thank you so much for coming on our show, for talking about this well-deserved and well-needed type of awareness that our community, the world, everyone needs to know about, and how you actually are going through this and helping others. So thank you again for taking the time to be on the show.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
That's great. So before we dive into your story and talk about all the great things to what you're doing, just for those who don't know, explain or give us a brief synopsis of what is dyslexia.
Dyslexia is where when you are reading, it is hard for you to read. There's different versions of it. It's a big scale, but the dyslexia mainly is when you can't decode what's on a page, and sometimes somebody can read things and they write them completely backwards, which is very crazy to see when somebody writes something backwards. But for me, it was sentences would fly around like the intro of the Jetsons, and the letters inside the sentences would flip. So looking at a page in social studies for too long would make you sick and dizzy because things are flying around. But I
and
do
that's
make
what you
go ahead.
You were going through that all through your school years.
Yes. And I make it a big point that I'm not an expert on dyslexia, but I'm an expert on living with it and what it takes to overcome it and what it takes to live with it and what it takes to become successful with it, and how to leverage what people would say is a disability with a negative connotation into a different ability, which is your superpower.
And that's so important, because you just said you're not an expert in it, but you are an expert in it because you're actually living it. You've lived it from a child up to now an adult. You're still going through it, but you have overcome it, and you're now taking this on the road to actually, you actually put this into a business to actually help people, to bring more awareness. When did you decide that, first of all, when did you know that you actually was diagnosed with dyslexia?
I was 16. So I was 16 and we found out I was on the wrong meds for 10 years, Ritalin, Concerta, because I was told that by a doctor of like a 9 to 10 minute appointment that your son had ADHD. So we're going to put him on Ritalin, Concerta. That lasted for 10 years. So wrongfully diagnosed, wrong meds for 10 years, pick in my face. I was clinically basically high my entire childhood and not getting the right services or support I needed to be successful in the academic arena.
Wow, that's that. So you're talking about your part of elementary, middle school, and part of high school, where you ended up having to just deal with a misdiagnosis of being diagnosed that you had an attention deficit, but you really had dyslexia.
Correct.
So when you found out at the age of 16, what actually made you say, you and your family say, you know what, this is not working, and then you went to another one? What was that turning point?
It was when my dad said, hey, I want to have you reevaluated because we're all running off of an evaluation they made of you in kindergarten and you're 16. So I want to make sure whatever they're saying is completely true. So he had me evaluated. Obviously, the results came back as, it's not ADHD, take him off the meds. We're all wrong here. What are the next steps? What is usually used? The next step was Orton Gillingham. Orton Gillingham is a program that for dyslexics, it's burning. You learn the ABCs. So as you can imagine, as a 16-year-old in May, just got your car, you got a job, you have friends, you want to hang out all summer. I'm going to a tutor on Saturday mornings, learning how to read, write, and understand the alphabet all over again. Like my first day was ABC. And you write it in sand, you write it in shaving cream, you write it in the air holding your shoulder, you say it. So when you think of A, you know what it feels like in all these different textures, in the air, with these pens, with this pencil. So you know exactly what A is, what it sounds like, what it looks like, and how it's used.
And you had to go through this at the age of 16. You're now how old?
I'm 23.
You are 23 years old. And so from 16 to 23, how has that made you feel in terms of this new type of learning for yourself?
Confident. It's very humbling when you're 16 learning your ABCs and you're getting 50s in class and you're putting in more work than your peers. But respectfully, I where I am now and what I've learned and what I've experienced and who I've worked with and where I've traveled and what I've been able to do and what stages I've been able to go on, the more that I help people, it's also healed me, but also given me the confidence to do more and do it on bigger levels and help more people as much as possible.
Good for you. Good for you. So you went through, you graduated, you're feeling empowered. You're happy that you actually figured out what actually was wrong with you, and you are now working through this challenge. You're going through it. At what point did you say, I need to do more? Like, there had to have been an epiphany of yourself to say, you know what? I don't want anyone else to go through this. Where was that point where you said, I need to do more. I need to make this an awareness. I need to make this into something where you feel that you can contribute to this population.
So we had this thing in 2020 called COVID. I don't know if everybody ever heard of it, but we did experience a thing called COVID, which I
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
senior in high school. And it gave us a lot of time because from March to June, we didn't have school. We had nothing to do. And I did what everybody else did, watch Netflix and watch YouTube. But when I went on YouTube, I got into this rabbit hole of Ed Milet, Ryan Serhant, Gary Vanderchuk, Craig Siegel, all these motivational speaker, personal development coaches. And all of them kept saying similar things as work out, work out, work out. So I started running every day during COVID, and I got all the way up to 8 miles a night with a weighted vest. But when you run and get an endorphin high from your endorphins pumping and you're listening to those speeches, you feel a really incredible way. You feel like you're floating above the ground. So I was laying on the turf and I was like, why do I resonate with what these guys are doing so much? And I thought about, I was adopted twice. I was misdiagnosed. I lived in an orphanage. I had an alcoholic father. I didn't go to college. Why do I have such an empowerment? Because I know somebody has it worse. I know somebody's still in an orphanage. I know somebody's dealing with an alcoholic father. I know somebody's still misdiagnosed. I know someone who just found out they had dyslexia, and I want to do whatever I can to make it lesser for them. There's no reason that if I have the tools, the mindset, the connections, the teachers, the doctors to help them overcome it too, whatever it is, there's no reason why I shouldn't. I thought it would be selfish for me to keep that to myself.
That's so empowering. That's so empowering. And I feel the energy. I feel the energy in your voice. I feel the energy that you are making a difference. You wanted to make a difference back in 2020. And, it's the relatability part, right? So this is something where people are sometimes ashamed of it, especially when they're older. They don't want to accept or make it known to their peers or to their family or to anyone that they have this, whereas you're turning it around to making it show that this is not something to be ashamed about. This is something where it can be worked out. And kudos to you for putting this together and putting this in a business to whereas you are bringing in awareness and helping to empower young people, old people, because again, this is not something where, like, look, you found out at 16. There's people that are finding out when they're in their 20s and their 30s. They're just going through life wondering that this is it. Like, this is how how my life is, where it really isn't. So you started this in 2020, right?
Yep.
What was your platform? Like, how did you really get it out? How did you become known?
I started with selfie videos on Instagram. I still have everything on my Instagram, and I will not delete any of it because I think it's cool in regards to a journey and seeing the
Mhm.
progress. But I started with selfie videos right here in my bedroom, and it grew to Zoom calls with other Instagram pages with almost no followers, just talking about dyslexia and comparing and giving advice to one another and posting it and seeing how it goes. And then I turned 20 and I landed a production deal in Stamford, Connecticut at a production studio. And I had a full-on podcast where I was able to invite people to a studio. I had a producer, I had a studio, I had the mics, I had the whole setup, the crew, the lights, the camera, the mics. And I got to interview a bunch of cool people, like my old wrestling coach, my old counselor, my family, friends, some influencers. And that got me opportunities to go to a conference. And the conference got me opportunities to travel to Miami, and then gave me an opportunity to meet with Floyd Mayweather. And then everything just kind of snowballed. The more I put into it, the more I got out of it. And the more I kind of let go to the journey and embraced it. And just, I need to learn. I know nothing. I'm young and I want to do this, and asking everybody with the results that I wanted and getting into the rooms of people who think bigger than I do. Every time I took those risks, it always came back tenfold in regards to opportunities or money or stages or shows.
So your peers, your friends that you known when you were going through this, What are they saying? Are you having the embracement from them? Do you see that things shifted because you didn't know what you had and now you know exactly what you have? You know how to deal with it much better. Like, how has your friendship relationships been with your peers before you became diagnosed?
My relationship with like friends recently has gotten a little different at this new level of success. I'm learning a lot of things where I'm experiencing some hate, which is confusing to me due to the messaging of the brand. But I'm experiencing outgrowing some people. I'm in this weird chapter where like I'm starting to make new friends, like the big dogs in the industry, but I'm not like friends with them. So I'm kind of like, but I'm outgrowing my old hometown friends. So I'm in this weird spot right now where I got to work through it and keep showing up to events, keep showing up. That's what my adoptive father always taught me was show up no matter what. That's what a man does, and good things will happen. So
Absolutely.
that's the way it's
Well,
been.
that's how we met. We met at a networking event with Beth. Big shout out to Beth.
Yes.
And when I heard your story, I said, that's amazing, because you hear it, but and you hear people putting their business, putting their challenges into a business, and you say to yourself, this is amazing, because I don't know if I would do that. And to hear somebody that is literally putting their challenges on their sleeve and talking about it, embracing it, and now telling others, if you feel like this, then you can do better also. You just have challenge, you just have certain things that you have to work at. So you're out there and you're talking to people, you're on these big stages, you're creating a great atmosphere for everybody, you're empowering everybody. What's going through Dalen's mind as he's doing this?
Wow, what a great question. Well, when I just landed a contract, I'm speaking at the Impact Effect event in front of 2,000 people, Nashville, LED screens, everything. It's quite crazy. So in the moment, it's such a roller coaster. It's like, oh, I landed this big stage, great opportunity. I'm so excited. I get to tell my team we're all flying to Nashville, X, Y, and Z. And then the day of the show, I'm like, okay, showtime, and I just lock in. I think about what do I want to message. I think about the speeches I've given. I think about the audience. How can I best deliver this? And then I get up there and I give my best speech I can. I get off stage, and then I get a bunch of love, appreciation, questions, connections. And I usually don't understand what I've done until like 2 weeks after. So 2 weeks later, when my team gives me my edited stuff, I'm like, oh, I did that. Wow, that's kind of crazy. So I'm very in the moment. I'm very enjoying the journey. I don't do it enough. I don't step back. I'm very like, okay, we did that. What's next? I need to start to appreciate, the accomplishments.
So go walk through us a day of Dalen. Like, you're getting ready. Like, what is your preparation journey?
I am a huge fanatic on cardio and working out. So I do half an hour on the treadmill, 10 miles on the bike, and half an hour on the stair machine to clear my mind, to get my endorphins going and get into that right mindset and lock into where I need to be. And then usually that's after it's breakfast, which my team makes fun of me. I don't suggest this. It's a meal replacement bar and a Gatorade. And then usually right before I go on stage, a Red Bull or something.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a crazy diet. And then I just walk in and I'm huge on impact. I think impact is what I want to leave. That's the word I would describe myself with in my goals. It's just my question is, how can I create the biggest impact possible on these people right in front of me right now?
What type of, who's your target audience in terms of that you want to speak with? Like, I know you said that you spoke at schools, like, like who are you really looking for to make this impact?
So I am looking for all different type of people because I want my story to resonate with people for different reasons. So I had an alcoholic father. I want those who are struggling with it to speak up, reach out, and talk to me about it, and me help them overcome it. I've so much fulfillment and enjoyment in helping people become the people they want to be and they can be, because all you need is somebody to believe in you and go, hey, the bumpers on the bowling alley, you throw some bumpers up and you go, walk straight for me. If you hit the pin in the middle, they'll all fall down. And I'll tell you exactly how to walk. And me watching, like, my team, my friends, me being able to mentor my friends because I'm being mentored by Craig Siegel is just so beautiful. It's such a process. I'm also mentoring kids one-on-one with superpower mentors, and that's a beautiful process. I have such fulfillment and enjoyment in just watching people blossom into their capabilities, into such amazing humans to do more of what I do. I tell everybody who I mentor and work with, I want you to do better than I am. I want you to do
Right.
whatever you want to do better and bigger than I am right now. And let me know how I can help you. How can I serve you? How can I
Right.
promote you? How can I push you?
Wow. No, that's amazing. That's amazing. And for you to, you work with kids, you actually work with all types of lives of people who have a struggle, who have a
Yes.
challenge. And so you go into these arenas, you're being, empowering so many people. Where, how is it that someone can actually reach out to you and say, "Hey, Dalen, I have a young kid, or I have a group of kids, I have a school that I want you to, to talk to. We don't know what's going on, and I want you to talk to our young people." Like, how is it they could get in contact with you?
You can DM my Instagram, dsfordyslexia19. You can email me. You can put an inquiry at dsfordyslexia.com. Anyway, I'm all over social media. I'm sure we have it here in my link tree.
Yep.
Wherever, click that, wherever you can find me, find me. I don't run my social media, but I'm contacted when people do reach out. So I'm more than happy to work with you and answer your questions and help you in any way I can. Because I've learned that when you want something more for somebody else, you want something for people, not from them, a lot of doors open. And every doors that I've gotten, and every big door, like things that I didn't expect, like little side quests. I was invited to
Mhm.
Fashion Week and rocked all these red carpets and walked in a show and did this crazy after party. It was, I'm just a motivational speaker. I want to empower people, but I was invited on that side quest because I want something for people, not from them.
Wow. No,
And
that's amazing.
it gives you press that you never thought you'd have, and it gives you opportunities and connections you never thought you would have. So it's
Absolutely.
just, I think I have a lot of love and fulfillment in wanting something for people and watching them transform.
You mentioned in the beginning that you're not an expert. And and then I mentioned to you, and I told you, I said you are an expert because you live with this. When someone comes to you, a little kid or a parent or anything like that, what is like the one recommendation that you tell them? That they're down and they're just like, they heard you speak or they saw you on social media or something to that extent. What is the reactions that you get?
I started sharing this on talk shows, and it was quite a impactful moment for me. Is when somebody shared with me they did not commit suicide because of a speech I gave.
Wow.
When that stuff started happening and that kind of feedback started being giving, some kid who thought he would never go to college or whatever he wanted to do ended up getting into his dream college and is holding a 4.0 and is a athlete. Things like that. People thank me for it. Okay, cool. Like, thanks for the compliment, but you did it. Like, the reality is that person did it. Whatever I said just pushed them to realize it. So those reactions, to me, it's weird. Like, I work so hard to just help people, and when I get that back, I'm still learning on how to receive those kind of
Mhm,
compliments and that
mhm.
information, for sure.
That's huge. That's huge for someone to come to you. I can imagine how you felt when someone said that to you, that, they decided not to commit suicide because they heard you speak. Like, that's amazing. That's powerful.
It is. Yeah.
That's powerful. I want everybody that's listening to please follow Dalen. He's going to be in a couple of states coming up in the next couple of months. You want to give a rundown of a couple of places that you're going to
Yeah.
be in?
I can't. I don't know. I'm living in a movie these days where I don't understand how I'm doing certain things, but I am speaking in Miami in 2 weeks, March 29th and 30th. I'm speaking in after that May 4th in Stamford, Connecticut, A to B Con, and I'll be on the red carpet for that as well. And then so far in September 9th, I'll be in Springfield, Missouri, speaking at the 1% event with all these great leaders. And then the week after in Nashville, I'll be speaking at the Impact Effect event in front of 2,000 people.
Wow. So again, Dalen, I really appreciate you sharing your story and also sharing the opportunity that people can actually work with you. This awareness that you're bringing to the world is needed. And for you to actually live this and now show that people can actually change their lives to be better. You don't have to live with this and have this as that this is something that could just bring you down all the time. It's something that you just have to look at little things to say to yourself, I can do something. I am somebody. I can make sure that I can hit my dreams. Before we go, I would love for you to just, give us a little rundown in terms of one, when you were going through this in your elementary, middle school, and up to when you found out, what was your vision of your life? Did you see yourself as like, I can't keep living like this? Like, what was your vision?
I was a very negative person. I was very, I didn't think I had anything capable. And my one thing was, I'm going to go to the army. That's all I have to give. That's all I have to offer. That's all I'm capable of. And in the back of my mind, I was like, I hope I can even do that. Like, that's where I was mentally. But the way I got through school every day was 1% better every day. Okay, if I can learn this math problem in algebra today, I can come back to school tomorrow. Okay, on Tuesday, if I can understand this one thing in social studies, I can come back on Wednesday. And Wednesday, if I understand where the powerhouse of the cell is, the mitochondria, then I can come back to school on Thursday. And then Thursday, if I don't have to skip gym to do homework and have questions, then I can come back Friday. And Friday's a fun day because it's the last day of the week. So if I can come in Friday and learn one thing, I can come back Monday. And I've been able to transfer that to the real world in my business, going, I'm hyper focused and what's the word? I'm very obsessed is the word with the 1% of a day concept. I really am in such a competition with myself. It's not even funny. I want to be unrecognizable every 90 days. Like every 90 days you look up every 3 months and you're like, that is not the same kid he was 3 months ago. How is he on that stage shaking that hand? Because the more that I do, the more lives that are impacted by it. And the more lives that are impacted, the less stress and the less bad situations. Like I was mentoring this kid and he's in a really crappy situation right now and he's doing better. I start all that I mentor with a vision board. All right, what are our goals? Put down what you want in the next 5 years. But we start with, what do you want to be in the next 90 days? And usually it starts with working out, eating better. A lot of people don't understand, but getting in the rooms with people who think bigger than you do and not being around people who suck your energy. Being places that you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
Right. No, that's amazing. I love that. I love your energy. I love your take on life. Especially, at that age, like you had to figure it out and you had to say to yourself that, this 1%, if I could do this 1%, that I can come back the next day and the next day. And that takes hard for people to really think about. So you bringing this awareness, you bringing these tips to folks that feel like this and, that's always negative. Everybody that's listening, I want you to just listen to Dylan's voice. Just listen to what he's saying. He literally has went from being diagnosed with a different type of learning disorder, attention deficit, from elementary school all the way up to the age of 16, to live like that, to then turn it around, learn over again at the age of 16, to now at the age of 20, you said 24? 23, that you now have a business bringing awareness to this learning disorder, that you are not even looking at it as a learning disorder. You're looking at it as, this is your dream of how you are going to help people going forward. So I applaud you so much, Dylan. Is there any last words that you want to leave with our audience?
Yeah. So I have a lot of kids my age, as you could imagine. Kids that were 23 are usually not in the position that I am. But they always are saying, I'm so behind. And I want to make it very clear. You are not behind. You are not ahead. You are in your time zone. That is really amazing. And that is perfect. And just stay on track. Stay where what you want. If you're in college, make sure you're getting good grades. Start there. You can't go from 0 to superhero overnight, but you can go from 0 to 1% every day. I'm obsessed with it. You're worth it. You are purpose. You are loved. You are capable. And you got this, and you're not lesser of anybody.
What a perfect way to end this show. Thank you so much, Dylan. I really appreciate it. Everybody, please make sure that you go follow Dylan on all socials. Go to his link tree, connect with him. If you want him to come out to your school, to your organization, to your conference, trust me, you will not be disappointed. Once again, everyone, this is Sharon Lee, the host for NetStruc Talks, and I will see you at the next show. Take care.